break a bone as soon as you walk into the Indiana Fever facility, because things have been crazy over there. Let's get into Rob Dozier. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, and hype the video. As always, we have good news for the Indiana Fever as they bring in a new player development coach to work alongside player and development coach Keith Porter, who the players seem to have a great rapport with. So let's take a look. The Indiana Fever posted, "We have added Rob Dozier to our staff."
The words carried an icy finality. The Indiana Fever, weary of the familiar routine, had made a unilateral decision. Caitlin Clark's game needed a complete transformation. Her opinion wasn't sought. The team was bringing in an NBA-level player development coach, tasked specifically with rebuilding her from the ground up. A quiet rage simmered beneath the surface. This wasn't a partnership, it was a directive. The message was unmistakable. Your current game isn't enough, and outside expertise would reshape it, with or without your consent or existing methods. Now, the superstar finds herself under the microscope of a newly imposed vision, and the consequences for her future could be nothing short of explosive.
So the Indiana Fever have just hired a brand new coach, a brand new player development coach. They kind of had to. It says here he'll work alongside fellow player development coach Keith Porter. If you guys don't know, Keith Porter is out injured for a while. Like you will not see Keith Porter realistically doing any work with any player this offseason. As far as I'm aware, he snapped his Achilles, and it is not easy to come back from that. Like, that's the type of injury where I'm not joking. It is.
The surprising move saw the Fever bring in Rob Dozier, an assistant and player development coach with extensive NBA and G League credentials. It was a hire that immediately drew attention across the league. Publicly, the decision was presented as a positive step forward. But privately, the timing and Dozier's specific directive hinted at something far more pressing. A deeper issue the organization believed required drastic intervention. The underlying message was hard to ignore. Despite Caitlin Clark's undeniable talent, her individual growth appeared to have plateaued, or at least wasn't advancing fast enough to satisfy the front office. This wasn't merely the addition of a new coach. It was the imposition of a new philosophy on the team's most valuable player, a shift that instantly introduced tension into the Fever's dynamic.
Coach Keith Porter, who the players seem to have a great rapport with. So let's take a look. The Indiana Fever posted, "We have added Rob Dozier to our staff as a player development coach. Rob will work alongside fellow player development coach Keith Porter." And you see here, welcome Rob Dozier. Now, who is Rob Dozier? What has he done? Why is he qualified enough to be working with Caitlin Clark? Let's take a look here. Now, this is a big job because at the end of the day, it's clear Caitlin Clark is going to be training in Indiana. So this is someone who she's definitely going to...
The true purpose behind Dozier's arrival soon became clear. A calculated response to the belief that Caitlin Clark's game needed new dimensions. Analysts have been blunt, insisting she must develop a stronger isolation presence, expand her repertoire, and elevate her performance to an entirely new level next season. This isn't framed as gentle guidance. It's a bold declaration that her current skill set demands substantial improvement, a not-so-subtle suggestion of deficiency. For a player of Clark's stature, such public critiques, coupled with the imposition of an external coaching fix, could easily be interpreted as a deep insult, fueling precisely the kind of speculation the title suggests.
Easy to come back from that. Like, that's the type of injury where I'm not joking. It is the worst thing that ever happened to me. It is literally the worst thing that ever happened to me. So, yeah, I do feel like the old Achilles injuries are pretty grim. Are pretty grim, not gonna lie. Like, it is, as someone that snapped my MCL twice, or not snapped my MCL, who has had three grade 2 tears of an MCL, not a full grade 3 tear. I would rather have...
Adding fuel to the fire is a growing mistrust in the Indiana Fever's front office, a sentiment echoed by critics who openly admit, "I just don't trust them." This deep-seated skepticism now colors every move the organization makes, including the headline-grabbing hire of Rob Doer. That if Caitlin Clark harbors even a trace of that same doubt, Dozer's arrival represents more than just a new coaching addition. It becomes another questionable decision from a management team already under the microscope. Within this atmosphere of uncertainty, tension naturally festers, and Clark's rumored frustration feels not only plausible but inevitable.
You better bring your A game, because I need Cece on a whole nother level next season. I need her on another level next season, and we need her healthy. Let's get more info on Rob Doer. Here it says Rob Doer joined the Mad Ants for the 2023-2024 season. Prior, Doer spent 2 seasons in Washington Wizards organization, last serving as a player development manager for the Wizards. In 2021-22, Doer was a player development coach associated with the Capital City Go-Go NBA G League affiliate of the Wizards. So he has definitely...
The immediate catalyst for Dozer's hiring, though seemingly straightforward, adds another layer of complexity to the story. The Fever's current player development coach, Keith Porter, is sidelined indefinitely with a torn Achilles, a serious injury that has removed him from all on-court duties. While this setback certainly created a legitimate need for additional support, it also exposed the Fever's fragility and reactive tendencies when it comes to player development. This wasn't a carefully mapped-out strategic decision. It was a scramble under pressure, an emergency hire designed to patch a sudden void. For Caitlin Clark, that urgency could make the move feel less like thoughtful investment and more like an arbitrary fix imposed without foresight.
TL, not a full grade 3 there. I would rather have grade 2 tears in both my MCLs and be confined to a wheelchair than have to deal with an Achilles tear again. But at least they brought in another coach. They have a guy in by the name of Rob Dozier. Rob Dozier, I don't know. But he's in, I guess, and he's going to be, this is who we are trusting to work with Caitlin Clark in the offseason. This is who they are trusting to work with Caitlin Clark. So, obviously, look,
Dozer's resume is undeniably impressive, featuring stints with NBA G League teams, the Indiana Pacers, and even the Washington Wizards. He's also worked alongside some of the game's biggest stars, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Tyrese Maxey, through elite trainer Drew Hanlen's renowned camps. Yet that very pedigree cuts both ways. While his NBA-centric background commands respect, it raises an important question. Does his experience truly translate to the distinct rhythm and demands of the WNBA? Or is this an instance of the Fever trying to force a square peg into a round hole, imposing a development style built for dominant big men onto their dynamic superstar guard? That potential mismatch could become a significant source of tension.
Drew Hanlen, Tyrese Maxey. Drew Hanlen is one of the best trainers in the game. He's right there. Him and Chris Brickley are right up there as two of the elites working with some of the top stars. Here it says where he met Coach Drew Hanlen and future NBA superstar Jason Tatum. Many years later, with the help of that camp, Dozier spent 2 summers working alongside Hanlen and Tatum, as well as Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Bradley Beal, and many more. So, you know, it's clear he's worked with some of the elites. He's worked with some of the...
Dozer's extensive G League experience, while impressive, underscores a developmental path that differs greatly from guiding a generational talent already operating at the height of her abilities. Working with up-and-coming players is one thing. Reshaping a record-breaking phenom is something else entirely. The issue isn't Dozer's credentials. Those are unquestionable, but rather whether his expertise truly fits the intricacies of Caitlin Clark's game. To some, this move feels like an aggressive, one-size-fits-all strategy that overlooks her established strengths and individuality. For Clark, that perception alone could intensify her frustration with what increasingly feels like an imposed, rather than collaborative directive.
This is who we are trusting to work with Caitlin Clark in the offseason. This is who they are trusting to work with Caitlin Clark. So, obviously, look, the Indiana Fever, we heard from Chris Brickley basically that, oh, you know, teams sometimes don't let their players leave. Everyone's like, oh, Caitlin can leave if she wants to, but it's like, I mean, if the Fever said, we want you to stay here, and she goes and disobeys the Fever, like, I don't think she's going to. I genuinely don't think she's going to. If the Fever don't want her to go somewhere, she's not going to say fuck you. Like, I probably would rather if she did, to be honest. Like, if the Fever told her, you're now you're coming off